All right, everybody. Well, welcome to this installment of TGA Spotlight. I'm incredibly excited today to bring on our next guest. It's a good friend of mine, a good friend of the ecosystem of TGA. Been around for a minute and an amazing contributor to all projects that he's involved with. Right. So, before I do that, I just want to just give a quick disclaimer. Right, those of you joining us here live, welcome. Feel free to use the chat to interact. For those of you watching this on replay, howdy, it's good to see you, right? So quick disclaimer, anything we mention and talk about on this call, this video is not meant to be financial advice, right? It's just for educational purposes only. So please don't misconstrue anything we say as financial advice or, a signal or advice to buy something, right? It's just us having a conversation and having some educational content be developed. So with that out of the way, I'm glad you're here. Thanks for being here. And without further ado, let me go ahead and welcome our esteemed guest, Malek. Malek, say hi to everybody.
What's up, guys? How's everybody doing? I see some names there that I recognize and some names that I don't. So I'm excited to kind of get to know you all today, or you get to know me, and hopefully we can connect and continue to build this relationship. So yeah, it's exciting to be here. Thank you for having me, Randy.
Hey, you're welcome, Malek. I love it. I love it. So a lot of people know you in the community because you've been very active and contribute quite a bit. But for those who are watching this who may not know you, do me a favor, and I'm looking at my notes here, right? Um,
Okay.
Give us, and you're a guardian of you're a TGA Guardian. So we know that that's a special tier within the Guardian Academy. And so that's one of the things that you've brought to the table is worked your way up to that level and that status. So we'll talk about that in here in a bit. But catch us up. Who was Malek prior to TGA, right? And as you kind of craft who you were before finding out about TGA, how did you find out about the TGA? Would you mind sharing that history with us, Malek?
Yeah, absolutely. So Malik before TGA was your average online marketer. I pretty much enjoy to put my hands on anything that has to do with marketing, and it is a great experience. Don't get me wrong. I love marketing. I've always loved marketing, but at the same time, it took me to a couple of different roads that I did not really find myself to fit right in it, and that's when I started raising some questions. And funny enough, as I was exploring crypto and stuff, I got to meet a good friend of mine, a good friend of yours, a good friend of the TGA family as well, Daniel. Daniel from Porsche. He was somebody that I've worked with in micropets, and we got to know each other obviously, and we have similar stories, similar background. We both struggled in our early years, and we connected. And through that conversation, he told me about the night ecosystem first. That's how I got introduced to the entire ecosystem. And from there it was sunshine and roses, my man. I love being around the community. As somebody who builds communities, I very much know and appreciate how important it is for people to engage with each other and to provide value to each other. And this is something that was very, very noticeable in that community. So it attracted me. It was like a calling for me. And the more I connected, the more I learned, the more I found it to be a place for me. And honestly, it is my third place. There's no doubt in my mind that the TGA family, it's actually, I think it's like on my profile, the first thing. So yeah, it is. It's the first thing on my profile. So I love being part of it, and I love to contribute. And I very much enjoy everything that is being pushed out from content from the TGA members, especially the Guardians. It's funny because it's not only Guardians that contribute. I've seen people that are not Guardians that contribute to the ecosystem, and it's really inspiring. And it allows me to even push myself forward even more. And I hope that what I've brought into the community was valuable to one person or another. I guess if it helped one person, then I guess I could say I've done my duty. So yeah, It's exciting to be here, man.
Oh, I love that, man. Thank you, thank you. And I'm just kind of like, as I listen to what you're talking about, it's very clear that for you, one of the, and correct me if I'm wrong here, one of the a big hot button for you is a strong community. Is that correct? Is
Yes.
that fair to say? So
Yeah.
awesome. So kind of share with me, like when you and this is off script, Malek, right? Um,
Yeah.
when you think about like communities, what attracted you specifically to the Guardian Academy, the TGA community? Could you share that?
Uh, yeah, absolutely. It's the personalities that's in there. It seems like we all have so much difference in our personality, yet we all kind of know exactly where we want to go. So even though each person is doing his own thing and they're contributing in their own way, they have their own mission, they have their own road, one way or another, we all get to meet at a single point almost daily, which is amazing. This is what I look for when I look for communities. I don't expect people to be exactly the same. In fact, you don't want it to be that way. You want diversity. You want different personalities. But what I expect in a good community is a solid mission that everybody can appreciate and everybody can contribute to. And and especially in Web3, we're all in Web3. So in Web3, this is something that people are just catching on to right now. They're constantly asking about utility, product, and I think I speak for everybody that is in here right now. They understand that it's no longer about the product, and it's rather the human being. So and I found a lot of great personalities inside the community, and it motivated me to be a better person, man. And that's something that I look for constantly in people. I have ADHD, so my mind runs a million miles an hour, and it's important for me to kind of see people's perspectives and understand why they see things the way that they do, and why is it different from the way that I see them. And using reasoning, using logic, it's like we can always agree to something, and that's exactly what I found in TGA. There's amazing human beings in this community, man, and I'll tell you, you guys built something very special, very special. And yeah, being in Web3, I'm telling you, there's only a few communities that I can say they have great communities, and TGA tops them. TGA definitely tops them, and it's not because of the product, but because of the humans behind it. So it's definitely great to be here with you.
I love that, man. I love that. Yeah, we used to say that this is a project helping to bridge the Web3 road with the real world, right? Building that
Yeah.
bridge. And now we kind of like just shifted to like this is not a blockchain project. This is a human project. So
Hmm.
that's one of the things that we talk about. So yeah, I'm with you on that, man. It's good stuff. The
Love
personalities
it.
and the the diverse backgrounds, right? Um,
Yes.
yeah. Well, let me ask you this then.
Mm.
You know, as you're going through and like you're learning things about the TGA, I mean, you have your own principles, right? Like you're part of a lot of awesome communities. You've helped build a lot of that. But like when after you found out about TGA, um, how has life been after that, right? And applying its principles. Like what, like if you could also talk about like maybe some concepts that you really took hold of, and sort of applying. I would love to hear your perspective on that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think a lot of people can share this with me as well, because it seems to be the same story for everybody that gets into the crypto world. When I first joined, I truly thought that I could turn $200 to $1 million. I swear. I don't even know why that thought came to my head. But I'm like, oh my God, crypto is like the next big thing. And I'm gonna make millions and millions of dollars, and I kept chasing, right? And I think, as I said, like this is something I think a lot of people can share this story with me. I kept chasing. I actually, even when I found out about Night, I was chasing Night at that point. I even bought it at all-time high. But and the more I got into the educational part of the TGA and Wolf Den before that, the more I kind of understood exactly why things were not going the way that I wanted them to go. And one of the biggest principles for me, I think it's the main principle as well, right? You know, the recapture and reallocate through the solvable problem. That was one of the very first things that I learned. Believe it or not, I did not even, you know, I have my own business, but I never thought about finances the way that, you know, the solvable problem kind of gives you that. And it did not take me long to understand that, hey, I'm going to achieve the goals that I want to achieve within the time frame that I want to achieve them in. And you know, thankfully, until now, I'm a lot closer to my goal because of that principle, because I started using that. And I think at this point I cut down like 6 years or something, just from taking advantage of the solvable problem and using the ecosystem. So I do use it in multiple ecosystems, not just in Night, but Night was the very first place that I started using that in. And you know, I keep going back. I haven't checked my solvable problem in a few weeks, but almost weekly I go back and I make sure that I'm on track. And you know, thankfully, it's something that came into my life because yeah, I'm a lot close. I have a big number, dude. Okay, I'm not. I don't want no. You know, like I have a very big number, and I want to achieve that number for a specific reason. I don't want to work after I'm 50. Like, well, retire work, but it doesn't mean like I'm gonna stop doing things, obviously. But it's just to know that I can take care of my family, I can take care of myself. I take care of both of my parents, so it's a big deal for me to kind of achieve that at that time frame that I'm looking for. And with that principle, with TGA, I'm a lot closer to it. So that's only one and for many principles that you guys are teaching that I apply on a daily basis. I have my own principles, but I kind of consider, like live to learn, give to earn. That is a big part of my life now. And I don't know if I know the Guardians were there when I asked this question. I wanted to launch a book about building communities, and I asked this question. I asked in the Guardian Academy, in the Guardian group, how much I should charge for it, right? And it's just from the responses that I got from everybody, and there were different perspectives. It's not like they were all the same. They all had different perspectives, but they kind of confirmed that, hey, you know, this is something that is needed in the world, especially in Web3. So if I want to see Web3 succeed, I want to see communities being built the way that, you know, they should be built, then this is something that I should be giving out to Web3, to the people of Web3, so they can benefit from. And so I kind of I took a step back at that point. I was going to actually launch it, but I decided to take a step back and kind of include the bear market behavior in the book, and at the same time, I am hoping that I can get this out for everybody for free. So that's part of the living so I can learn. And it's amazing because throughout this entire process, throughout this entire journey, there's always something new that I'm learning. Like even when I do, so I do personal development calls with multiple communities on weekly basis, sometimes bi-weekly, depending on how much time that I have. But even when I do these calls with people, it's amazing, how when you're listening to other people's perspectives, it adds so much value into your own life because you see things that work better for other people that might not work the same way for you. But it's the principle, and it's the concept of why they're doing it, and how come they think the way that they're thinking different than me. is has allowed me to kind of understand people even more. And I think that is the best gift that you can get ever from anyone. That we can talk to somebody and feel like you understand them. You feel like, hey, when they're talking, you get what they're saying. Whether it's about the pain, this is something that we're doing in recovery punks. Even though I had my own addiction problems, I've learned a lot through that community itself, just from interacting with the people, just from being there and learning together. So that principle is probably one of the top and my favorite. And I don't know, it probably is the primary principle of TGA, because it's something that has always been said. Even like when you go see my posts, I always put it at the bottom, and pretty much all my communities, they know that it comes from TGA. So yeah, shout out to you guys for teaching me this.
Dude, I love that, man. Like, thanks for sharing that, man. Yeah, I think it's cool too that you do personal development calls, because it's one of those things, in my opinion, right? And I'll just kind of riff here with you, is that one's net worth will never outgrow their self worth, and as long
Yeah.
as they have their self worth wherever it is, they can make millions of dollars. Like we know about lottery winners who do that. They end up worse off than when they started because of their mindset. So I think that's wonderful. You know. Um, One thing I've noticed about you, man, is like I know that you take an interest in people. I can see that, and the amount of time you spend contributing to communities, not just our own but others as well. I see you, on your Twitter. It's substantial, right? I'm gonna ask this: why do you find interest in that? Right? You talked a little bit about it, like finding out about people, connecting with people, but why do you contribute the way you do? What makes Malek tick in that way?
It's because I isolated myself for so long. Like when I was going through my problems with addiction and stuff, I kind of took myself away from everybody. And it's not something that I was able to change at that point, right? Like your mind is controlled by one thought from the time that you wake up until the time you go to sleep. And because of that, I felt like I've lost so many of years of my life. Like 8 years is not a short time. 8 years is a very long time, and because of that, like in the beginning when I started, when I changed, when my recovery started, I felt I felt very, very disappointed in myself. Even though I was doing great, I was doing a lot better. I felt like I was late on everything. And that's where my journey of learning started. And the more I connected with people, the more I listened to other people, the more I improved my own behavior. So I was taken from people as much as I can. And, obviously from specific type of people. I wasn't just going to connect with everybody. But at the same time, because I was at that point in some point of my life, I know that others feel the same way. And this is part of the reason why I love to give back so much to these communities. This is something that I've noticed in Web3, and I can almost assure you that this is we don't want to talk about data, but if you look at like part of the reason why people don't dox in Web3, I personally believe, is because they don't really believe in their ability, and because of that, they choose not to be doxxed publicly. And I'm not saying that's not everybody, obviously, but this is something that I've noticed myself. And because of that, they kind of they like to be a person behind a picture, and because of that, they can be whoever they want to be and put that image out in front of people. And in most cases, and I've met a lot of people from these communities, you'll be surprised how many people are so completely different than what you thought they would be, when you actually meet them in person. That is another reason why I was so impressed with the TGA and the World Bank community. I create an image for every person that I meet online. And it's not like I mean to, it just happens, an image of a picture and an image of a person. And when I got to meet everybody through the event that we did in Arizona last year, it was exactly the same people, and I found that amazing. I found that very, very authentic and very original. And that's part of the reason why I try to bring as much as I can into my communities. I see people that, they need direction. They're doing their own thing, like obviously most of them even have their own businesses and stuff. But at some point I did not know which direction I should be going to, and I had people to guide me. So if I can be that person to others, as loyal as I am to the people who guided me, I know they would be as loyal to me as well. And that's how you create relationships, man. That's how you give back to people that need your help. And when you give them enough value that contributes to their own personal lives, they can take from you and implement in their own personal life. People can appreciate that, right? And relationships grow. And I just love connecting with people. I love growing relationships with people. Humans are just fascinating creatures. They're stubborn a lot, but at the same time, I think there's so much good in everybody. It's just a matter of time before they can kind of figure it out and try to be good people as much as they can. So that's my reason. That's why I do what I do. That's why community is my thing. It's the people, man. I just love connecting with people.
Oh man, appreciate that. Appreciate, and it shows, man. It shows. Like, and you just kind of stated it, right? Like, one of the universal principles that I subscribe to is givers gain, right? And I can just see it in your life, right? Things come your way, opportunities come your way because of how much you give. So thanks for being such a giver, man. Like, appreciate that, man. That's awesome.
It's my pleasure, man. Look, I think we have a responsibility, all of us, for society as a whole. We always want things to go in the way in the direction that we want it to go. So the best thing that we can do is just take our own actions, right, and do good, and hopefully, at some point, the entire society as a whole can change. So yeah.
Love it, love it. So let me ask you this, and I don't want you to
Mhm.
give away too much, because I know it's going to come out in your book. But like thinking about communities, you spoke a lot about that, and it's really apparent that you're great at crafting and curating and building communities. Like maybe what's like one concept that people miss, that who like people who try to build communities and fail. What do you think for you would be one of the concepts that they have missed, that they overlooked, and that would have actually helped them on their path to create a great community?
They don't allow community members to participate that they want the way that they wanted to. And this is something that I faced in my personal experience too. When I started working in Web3, my quote unquote boss, he was a brilliant man. Don't get me wrong. It just, he came from a corporate background, and because of that, you had to do what he wanted you to do the way that he wants you to do it. Even if you have another way of doing it that is easier for you and that will get you the same results, uh, that's not happening. That's not what he wanted. You just had to follow exactly what he wanted you to do. And this is something that I see in almost every community. We got a lot of founders, a lot of CEOs, a lot of people, a lot of community builders out there, and throwing this out saying it's all about community. Yet when it comes to contribution, they pick and choose what they want people to contribute, and because of that, you don't get to discover the talent and the the potential in so many people around you. And this is something that I allow in my community. You know what? You can contribute. And another thing as well, community members themselves, because of that kind of mindset, they're not sure what to contribute, right? When you tell somebody, hey, contribute to your community, they're stuck. They're like, because they think the only way I can contribute is if I can grow a massive audience, or and bring money into the project, to bring audience into the project. When the fact is, like, your like and retweet, that's a contribution. You being there inside the community, connecting with other people, that's a contribution. You connecting with the team, on a personal level, that's a contribution. Writing a post and tagging and using hashtags, that's a contribution, right? There's so much that people can contribute to, especially in Web3. If we're just thinking about Web3, but they just don't know what to contribute, because in their mind, the only way I can contribute is if I'm a tech wizard and I understand the blockchain the way I'm supposed to, and I'm putting out articles that's teaching other people about the blockchain. When the reality is, no, that's not. Sure, that is a contribution from somebody that has that kind of knowledge, has that kind of experience, but the way they contribute is a little bit different from the way that you would contribute. So this is, I encourage founders, I encourage community builders, I allow people to kind of just see what they can bring you. Just tell them, hey, contribute something. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, for example, I created a little kind of group and called it the Guard Dogs a couple of years ago, and I bring in community members that really have special talents, that I see that they have some sort of potential, and I bring them in the community, and I take ideas from them on what to do. If we need some sort of an activity, I don't go and create it myself. I ask them to. And in the beginning, it was very hard for them to grasp the idea of how you can create an activity. But right now, like, just before we got on the call, one of the guard dogs sent me a message, and he's like, "Hey, I want to bring this game in for the weekend, and I think it would boost, kind of, weekend, because on the weekends it's kind of quiet inside the communities, and obviously, people got families, they got things, so they want to spend time with their family and stuff. But he brought in this idea, and it's a game, and the game is so fun. It's so much fun. But when he introduced it to me, he's like, "This is something I like. I don't know if somebody else would." And when he showed it to me, I thought it was brilliant. I've never thought about it before. I've never even kind of looked in that direction. It kind of confirms what we're saying here. Their contribution, you'd be surprised how brilliant and how creative people are when you allow them to do it in their own bubble, in their own way. And I think I get it. I get it. Like, when it comes to community building and founders, they have a lot of passion. They want things to work so well. They have a vision and they want to achieve that vision. But at the same time, like, it's not, your thoughts are not always the ones that are going to be 100% right. And I've made enough mistakes in Web3 to know that, even with all the experience, even with knowing all these people, even with connecting with so many great founders and community builders, not everything that's going to come out of my head is going to be productive, and not everything is going to be successful. It's amazing, because the more you kind of like focus on like listening to people around you, the more it allows you to be creative even more yourself. So just let people do what they want, let them contribute in the way that they want to contribute, and you'll be surprised how much amazing content they can bring into your community. And a great example is TGA. And that's what I mean. This is why it's such an attractive community, because there's so many different personalities, and they're all playing their own game. Yet all of it, everybody, even though it's so many different directions, we all meet at the same place, which is, it's amazing. I think it's a phenomenal. I haven't seen something like this in Web3 except in one other community. I swear. It's just two communities in the entire space that I've seen and I've been part of personally, right? Obviously, there could be others, but when I've been part of it personally, there's only two communities that kind of have that kind of mindset and allows people to contribute the way that they want to, and it's successful. Like both of these projects are doing so well, and we're not talking about price of action. That's not how I evaluate a project. We're talking about, you know, the strength of the community, and you know, like what they're learning from each other and the kind of value that they're bringing in. So that is the one thing that I think if people focus more on, we could build a great Web3 community.
Dude, that's wonderful, man. I mean, like, you know, those of you listening here live, like, I mean, like, that was some knowledge bombs there, you know, like, especially how to operate within a community and to contribute. And for those of you who are watching and listening and maybe founders of the projects, I mean, you know, I'll take it from someone like Malek, who's been around quite a bit of online Web3 communities, you know. Um, Let me flip a bit, Malek, let me flip the script a bit. And from a perspective of someone who's in a project, who's not a founder, who's maybe not even part of a team, but just part of the community. Let's say they're like, you know what, I would love to contribute. I would love to give back too, right? I'm learning, and I want to also give back as well. But I don't know where to start. Do you have any like insight that you could provide to them to like help them play their game and just get started contributing?
Yeah, do this what we're doing right now, right? Join these calls. It's you know, you'd be surprised how much information that you can extract from them, and it's not because of the experience people have, but rather, you know, the conversation. When we're talking, you know, not everything is gonna sit the same way for everybody. I might say something that somebody else might not agree with, and that's okay. That's fine. That's not the point here. But it's just allowing your mind to kind of like discover and see all of these different thoughts on how people think will help you understand more of how you can contribute and what you can bring in. When I started in Web3, I get a lot of messages about, you know, I think it's a little bit inappropriate to ask somebody how much they make in Web3, but this is a question that often comes in, and my reply is always the same. You know, I spent 12 months kind of basically giving back to a project without asking for anything before I started getting offers from projects, right? So if you want to start, the best thing that you can do is just know where you want to go exactly. If you know that you're going to be doing something in Web3 and you're going to stick with Web3 for a while, like for me, for example, you know, I can see myself doing this for the next 60 years. And as long as this technology exists, and as long as the communities exist, I'm going to stay in this field, right? Things will change, right? So what I'm talking about today might not work next year. So the best thing that you can do is to get involved as much as you can. Whenever you have the time, kind of, you know, like for first thing, connect with people, man. Connect with people, as many people as you can. And you know what? I actually did. I think it's in TGA. I'm not sure if I gave the content to TGA or somebody else. It might be published somewhere else. I'll have to double check. But it basically shows you a way where you can connect with high status profiles in Web3. And it freaking works every time. I still use the same method and it still works every time. I get them to follow me back. I get them to connect with me and actually engage on my own post. And it's not about the likes of retweets. Don't get me wrong. This is not what we're talking about here. But it's about kind of building that relationship with people that they're ahead of you on this journey. So you can learn so much from them. So one way to learn from them is to get closer to them, to actually have them also look at you, right? You following somebody does not mean that they see you, right? So the more value that you bring in, and this is one way that I do it. I see them, I see what they're doing, right? And within a week, you can really tell what these guys or these girls they like. And if you create for them for what they like, right? And you tag them in, they will most likely interact with you. One of like this one gentleman, his name is Wally, and he is creating the best Web3 content. If anything about NFT, I go and I look at his articles. I don't even look at my own articles anymore because he blew up so quick because of the kind of content that he creates. And I was talking to him yesterday. We got on a call and we're talking, and it kind of it shows the direction that he's taken is pretty much the same direction that I'm currently taking right now. So the more you connect with people, this is the biggest thing, like not just follow them, but actually, kind of have conversation with them. Oh, and you know what? You can get a lot of amazing tips from Joe Polish's book. I use so many of these exercises that he shares in the book, and it freaking works like a gem. I swear. One of the exercises that I still use, it's almost 2 months now that I'm doing this, which is pick 5 to 10 people around you and send them an appreciation message every day, right? And because of doing that, I got more than 5 offers, but I accepted 2 of them, right? Just from doing that practice, just from creating relationships with people. So that's what Web3 is about, man. I'm telling you. And the more people understand the power of community in Web3, I don't even ask about utility. I swear, I don't care for utility anymore. Utility, especially now that we know with the regulations and everything, money for money. It's not going to be something that that's going to benefit people. So what I look for is the people within the project, the team members. That's an important one, right? And the community members as well. So if I see only the team busting their asses off every day and the community is doing nothing but complaining and wanting more, that is a community I walk away from. I buy the products that I buy, any NFT that you see me buying, okay? Know that I bought it because of the community. It's not because of the utility. It's not because of I like what it looks. I can care less for art, to be honest. I buy them to have access to people, So that is the best thing that I can give you right now with this, man. Honestly, just connect with people as much as you can, within your circle. So obviously, inside TGA, you have a lot of brilliant people that you can, like when I go on a call for Jake, with example, every time I go on a call with Jake, where's the book? I have a book here that's just for Jake. As soon as he says something and it clicks, I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. You know what? I'm gonna take this down because it's something that I could use later. So, and outside of the community that you're part of, because you want to create your own little community as well, right? So you're part of a community, and you want to create your own community as well. So that's the best way to do it.
Oh man, again, knowledge bombs and some gems there, man. Appreciate that, Malik. And we're gonna have to wind down here in a moment, but I just like as you were talking, I was just kind of listening to the story, right? Like so often people are concerned about using Web3 and crypto to get rich and to like make money, But the interesting is, as I was listening to you talk, like you said 12 months you contributed without any expectation of pay, correct? That's what I heard.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
and the funny thing is as you learn and grew and like spend time there, you start to find little threads that weave into other places that therefore opportunity springs up from. Like you said, you learned of. How did you find out about Joe Polish? Was it through TGA?
Joe Polish, yes, it was through TGA. The first time I heard about Joe Polish, it was from Nick's profile. Actually, it was
Got it.
through his profile. He shared something about him, and then I'm a curious George, so I clicked on it and I started looking into who Joe Polish is. So when he said that he'll be there in the Grey Wolf Summit, I was very, very excited. Yeah,
Nice.
I definitely wanted to meet Joe.
Okay, and so you learned about Joe, found his book, learned about a few exercises, incorporated those exercises, and all of a sudden you have multiple offers, two of which you accepted. I would assume those have to deal with compensation somehow inside of them, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But I mean, like, people, that's the long game, right? That's the long game that you played, not because you were trying to get something out of it, but you were seriously living to learn and then giving to earn, live to learn, give to earn, and it just showed up that way for you. Is that kind of accurate?
Absolutely, man. And you know what? Like throughout the journey, and this is what's so beautiful about, contributing even for free. You will discover so many great skills that you have that you did not even know they exist. And this is why I do the personal development spaces with communities. I see so much potential in some people, but in most cases, what I see does not matter because they don't see it themselves, right? So the more I encourage them to kind of like, to contribute and do things that are outside of their comfort zone, the more they come back and say, hey, you know what? You were right. I didn't even know that I can do this. And now I'm doing it every day and I'm so good at it. And they'll go and they'll show me their posts and their likes and their retweets, and they show me the comments that they're getting, and I swear that is like it is the most beautiful reward that you can get. Way better than any money that you can put in your pocket. When somebody comes to you and they thank you for showing them something or directing them in one way or another, and now they're using it and they're getting it's making their life better, right? That is, I think that is a reward that's like no other, and it's the most honorable thing that you can do too, right? To give back to people who are in need. So yeah.
Nice. Appreciate that. Nice. All right. So, well, let me ask you this, real quick here, and as we come up to the close of the conversation, can you do you have like real world impact? Like, so all the stuff you took from Web3, is there anywhere that you can describe that you're impacting like in real life? Is there anything that you could see or anything that you saw that has impacted people there from the contributions that you've done with Web3?
Absolutely, yeah. So I connect also a lot. So with these smaller projects, there's a lot of people from countries that are not so rich, right? Like in Asia, Africa, and a lot of those guys, they're sweaters, right? They work hard. They work very very hard just to make a little bit of buck, and just from through all of these calls, the motivation, the kind of like allowing them to contribute inside these communities in the way that they want to contribute. There's so many amazing stories, dude. This one girl, when we first met, I met her through the micropets community. She was very quiet. She was very shy. She did not really do much, and she enjoyed these calls so much that she kept coming to them, and like you can tell that it kind of changed something about her, and that one time she disappeared for a little while, and it was like a month. So obviously when somebody disappears and you're constantly in talk with them or engaging with them, you'll notice it. So I private messaged her, and I was worried because like I'm like maybe something happened, you know what I mean? And I see the community members are like all friends, right? We all created solid relationships. So it's important for me to know that they're doing well. And it was very very surprising what she told me. I was expecting something negative, but it came out to be something really really positive. And she's like, I just want to thank you so much because you allowed me to kind of discover my own talent and my own bravery, and because of it she built a house, okay? And obviously like through the project as well, she made a little bit of money, but she took that money and she kind of put it into something that recapture or reallocate. You know what I mean? That's what we're talking about. So she took that money, she opened up her own business, right? So she has laundry kind of she bought three dryers and three washing machines. and she put it in her town, which is a small town, and she was the first one to do it. And she built a house for her and her family through all of this, throughout this entire journey. Obviously, this took a while. This is we're talking about 2 years, but that's the kind of, that's what we're going for here, right? Like, when you give something to somebody and it allows them to discover their true potential and kind of break free from that limitation that society puts you in, and it's amazing, man. It's truly inspiring, and it inspired me too, because it motivated me to even push myself even further, because if she can be in that position and in a very poor country, and she discovered that she can do all of this, and I live in Canada, place filled with opportunities, then the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit, my friend. So yeah, that's one story. And we can go sit here and talk about more, but I know we have a limited time. But honestly, man, it's I think this is one of the most rewarding thing that ever came back to me, especially because I truly thought something bad happened. And when she came back and she sent me pictures. She, like, even with her family, she was having dinner. They had, my name on the table and stuff, and it really melted my heart. It's it's amazing. It's amazing. I can I can do this all over again every day for the rest of my life, and I would be happy to.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And all from some internet money, huh? Crazy internet money. That's kind of
Yeah, that's right. Digital money.
yeah, exactly. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, like, we really don't know the threads that we create as we go through this Web3 world and this life, and how we contribute, right? So you never know. You never know. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, Malek, it was a pleasure chatting with you, man. If you wouldn't mind, is there any any last minute thoughts you'd like to provide? Maybe where can people find out more about you or follow you? Do you have any of those kind of things you'd like to share with us before we wrap the call up?
Absolutely. So my Twitter is like the best place to connect with me. That's where I spend most of my communication, is on Twitter. So Malek's World. So Malek. I think I can quickly type it in the chat here as well.
Cool, and I'll
Malek's
drop it in the
World.
YouTube description later. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, awesome, man. That is the best place to connect with me. If we're not connected, I would love to connect. I usually, when somebody new connects with me, within the first 24 hours, you will find me in your DM. I will be in your DM talking to you. So I hope that we can, continue to do great things here in this community. And I encourage everybody in TGA, inside and outside TGA, if you have something to contribute, doesn't matter what it is, just put it out there, man. Put it out there. There's 7 billion people in the world, almost 8 billion people in the world now. If you're convinced that no one in the world needs what you can contribute, then you're missing the point. So yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So, with that said, I just wanted to say thank you, Malek, for being here, spending time with us, sharing with us some insight on how you build communities and what you see within communities. I'm looking forward to that book, man. That sounds pretty awesome. So whether it's free, whether it's paid, hey, man, it's all good. We
I love
will we'll support. We'll support. Any last words, Malek?
it. Just keep on learning. I guess that's it. Live to learn, give to earn, my friends. But they already know that.
I love that. I love that. All right. Well, for those of you watching, thanks so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Somewhere inside of the description, you'll find a 6-word update thread. Any insights, any takeaways you got from this conversation, kindly share them, right? Crowdsource wisdom. Other people, you can read their 6-word updates. We can read yours. And therefore, all of us can take more out of the conversation based on each of ours different perspectives. So with that said, thanks for joining us here on this TGA Spotlight on Malek. We look forward to bringing you more of our community members and other people within the Web3 community to see how they're contributing and also giving back. So with that said, thanks everybody. Have a good one.